The Nexus 6P, one of the few ways to truly get a stock Android experience, but the question is it any good? The real interesting thing about this Nexus device is that they take on Apple in terms of design philosophy. This thing is beautiful with an all-metal design and chamfered edges. It feels solid in the hand. It really does tick all those boxes. But talking about feeling solid in the hand, you're going to need to use two hands most of the time using this device. It is 5.7 inches in screen size. That is pretty big. I have fairly large hands and there was no way I was going to use it with one hand without feeling like it was just going to slip out of my hand every time I was going to use it. Talking about screen, this phone is definitely Team Crispy with its 1440p resolution. It looks beautiful and is a real amazing experience. I haven't actually had a phone that's been this high in resolution, and it is noticeable with images really popping. However, I would say that it's not quite as vibrant as the iPhone 6s, so maybe something to note there. However, I would say on day-to-day use, the difference is really not that noticeable. And to round up the front, you have a front-facing, yes, front-facing speaker, something which will provide you with a decent audio experience when watching videos and playing games. Something which I think most manufacturers should be doing right now. There is no point putting a side or a back speaker. I don't want the person next to me or in front of me having a better audio experience than me. I'm watching the content, I should be able to hear it. Rant over. Moving on to the back, you will find a camera bump which houses the 12 megapixel Sony optics camera, which will do a very good job of getting the sort of photos that you need day to day. The photos will come out really beautiful. I really love the photos that you can get on this phone. However, it does take a few seconds to think about things, which sometimes can be a real annoyance when you're trying to capture a photo in the moment, which I find even more perplexing to do with the fact that there's a button on the side of the phone that you can click to easily access the camera to make the whole process faster. If only that lens or that whole camera system would just take the photo a little bit quicker, I would be really happy. It also does 4K video, and I'll be showing you some footage now. It looks really good, and there's nothing really to complain about that. Let's get down to the tech specs here. This phone has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 810 with 3GB of RAM and is like butter in day-to-day use. It is so smooth, it gets through all the menus really quickly, gets to what you need to do, and it feels like a premium device, and it's really responsive. I love it. Personally, I'm a big fan of stock Android. I think it's a lot better than the gunk that the other manufacturers put on, which I think just ruin and slow down the experience. So that is something to note looking at this phone. You're going to get Android as it was intended by Google, and I think that's a really good thing. Let's talk about the battery. This device has a pretty good juice pack. It should for the size, right? And I threw at it a really full days of use. This included Spotify, Gmail, Twitter, watching half-hour YouTube videos, playing video games. This went from 7 AM to 10:30, and at the end of the day, I still had 10 to 15% battery. I think that's really good for a device like this, especially with that big 1440p screen. And as a bonus, this phone supports quick charge, which allows you to charge it in around 40 minutes from near empty to full neat. In terms of software, this device is running the latest version of Android, that being Marshmallow. And I love the redesign. It's very fluid, it works very well, it looks pleasant on the eyes, and it was a really nice experience. However, there are some niggly things that really did start to bug me over the time that I used this device. That being, there's no percentage next to the battery, so you have to pull down from the actual menu on the top to actually find out how much percentage you have left in your battery. I know you can install an app, but why should you have to? Why can't I just see the percentage next to the battery? Then there's the signal indicator, which is freaking useless. You can't tell how much signal you got there, and it even said I had full signal when I couldn't make a call or do anything, so I don't know what's wrong with that. And then finally there's Android Pay, which is for whatever reason still not in the UK yet, considering Apple Pay has been here for 3 months and all stores support contactless now. There is pretty much no store that won't accept your contactless device. My experience using Apple Pay has been amazing, and I love using different stores, and having to go back to using my cards and not being able to use my Android device, considering it has the technology to use it, I just find it really, really disappointing. Okay, rant over this time, I promise. I honestly, apart from that, love the experience I had with Android. I really do like the Spotify UI system and the way it shows your album artwork full screen on the lock screen. Really like the experience. It's a bit weird, I know, but I do like it. And I do like the way that it shows the notification icons in the top left-hand corner, so you can easily at a glance see if there's a particular app notification that you've been waiting to see and that you might have missed as it popped up originally on your screen. So, Android, I had a good time with it. There were some niggly things, but you know, overall, I enjoyed it. Talking about the fingerprint sensor, now this one is placed on the back, which is a little unusual, but the thought behind it is that you can pull the phone out of the pocket and unlock it at the same time because your fingerprint can rest on the sensor. Now, I found this not to be the case for me. Maybe it is just the way I take the phones out of pockets. Apparently I don't do it the Google way, but I just found that it wasn't really that ergonomic for me, and I felt it was more of a hassle to put your finger on the back than it was to put your thumb on the bottom of the screen, which most phones use that system of. Also, the fingerprint sometimes, and actually, honestly, more often than not, misreads your finger, which is a little frustrating, especially if they're going for that ease of access thing where you're supposed to pull the phone out of the pocket and being able to unlock it first time and get to use the device really quickly. I just really didn't find that concept working very well. I think maybe with a quicker sensor, it might be a little bit more useful, but that's just the way it is for now. So with that, I end my review. People are calling the Nexus 6P the best Android phone on the market, and I am going to agree with them on this case. It's a really good phone. It has a lot of strong points. I honestly had a great time using it and feel sad to be having to send it back. It's a lot cheaper than the 6S Plus, something to consider, and as an Android phone, if you are someone who is only interested in Android phones, a real good point for this phone is it is going to get Google's latest update for the next 2 years, not something that a lot, even some of the more expensive Android phones, can actually stand by. And with that, I'm going to say thank you guys for watching. Hit that like button if you've enjoyed. If you have any questions about the phone or anything you've noticed while using the phone and want to share it, pop in the comment section down below. But subscribe if you're new, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.